Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome to today's weekly outlook video on the crypto markets, in which we are going to discuss Bitcoin, Ethereum, and one very interesting looking altcoin as well. Let's dive into the charts. Bitcoin is definitely looking very interesting currently. We can see that Bitcoin has been falling back inside of the range over here, in which this turned out to be a potential deviation above the range. And usually you would say, okay, after a deviation of the range high, you should go for the liquidity pool beneath the range low. Now, something to keep in mind currently is that Bitcoin, if we check out the relative strength index, is that Bitcoin is forming a bullish divergence on the 4-hourly time frame, right? In which the price action is forming a lower low, but the RSI is forming a higher low. Now, according to my system, whenever Bitcoin or an altcoin is forming either a bullish divergence, I'm not interested in shorting. If Bitcoin is forming a bearish divergence on the 4-hourly time frame, I'm not interested in longing, okay? And currently we're looking at a bullish divergence. So my system is not necessarily telling me to long, but it's definitely telling me not to short, all right? So that is something to definitely keep in mind, okay? So currently we are potentially reclaiming the mid-range as well. Now we can see there's definitely some lower time frame liquidity resting over here. And I do think that if Bitcoin manages to shift structure over here, and by shifting structure I mean opening and closing candles on a 1-hourly time frame above this high that brought us to this current low, then I do think that we should expect a retest of this bearish hour one fair value gap over here. Okay, so I do think that this liquidity pool, this bearish hour one fair value gap, this imbalanced move that aligns with the higher time frame range high should get filled. Now, something to keep in mind, guys, is that many people have been identifying this break of structure on the 4-hourly time frame. So what will happen, in my opinion, is that if we get a pullback on the 4-hourly time frame or on the charts in general, that many people will identify this liquidity sweep and the break of structure that I just marked out as well. So what will happen is many people will start shorting the pullback. Now, there's only one high that they can use to cover their stop, which is this high over here. Now, something interesting about this high is that it's the top of this massive wick to the upside on the 4-hourly time frame. Now, I've been teaching you guys that these big wicks, eventually they get filled at least for 50%. Now, many people are going to be wanting to short the pullback into that range high level, right? Where we also have the bearish hour for fair value gap. So many people will be looking for a swing short like this. Now, what will happen is there's a decent possibility that we are going to fill this big wick at least for 50%. But if we are going to fill that wick for 50%, that basically means that we are also going to reclaim this range high level, right? And if we reclaim the range high level, there's a decent chance of another expansion to the upside towards a liquidity pool, because price is always attracted to liquidity. Now, in this case, the liquidity is resting above this high because people identify this hour 4 shift in structure, but they forget that the daily trend is still strongly trending towards the upside and that we haven't seen a shift in trend on the daily yet. All right, so be careful with shorting. In my opinion, I've been explaining this many times over the past few weeks. I've only taken one trade on Bitcoin. It was a profitable one, but I've only been trading Ethereum and altcoins. And my focus will remain on the clean Ethereum and altcoin charts until proven otherwise, until Bitcoin shifts its daily trend to the downside. Now, what I'm expecting potentially for Bitcoin is that it can easily chop around over here for a few more weeks. Because looking at the previous price action, we have seen nothing but chop over here, over here, over here, over here. And then when no one expects it, then you get an expansion to the upside. Then you get an expansion to the downside, or to the upside, or to the upside, all right? But if everyone is looking at a potential bearish shift in structure, then why would it immediately give us that move instead of chopping around for a little bit longer, right? Stopping people out of premature positions? It would make a lot more sense. So in my opinion, focus on Ethereum, focus on altcoins, which we will dive into right now. When we look at the current Ethereum chart, we can see that Ethereum broke above this crucial range high area last week. and Ethereum was definitely outperforming Bitcoin. Now what we can see is that Ethereum put in a very interesting low over here, which aligns exactly with the previous range high area. Now we know previous resistance, if it was resistance like this, it could potentially turn into support, all right? More locally, we are forming a little bit of a downtrend potentially, right? Lower low compared to this low, lower high, potentially we're going to form a lower low. Now, we can see that this low might be a potential inducement of this crucial previous range high area. You don't want to fall back inside of this range, then you are going to get an expansional move towards the downside. But if the price is going to sweep this inducement and form signs of strength around this previous range high area, it should expand higher, okay? Until proven otherwise, Ethereum is bullish. As long as it's not falling back inside of the previous range, it's bullish, okay? The previous range looks something like this, in which you have your range low over here and your range high over here. You don't want to fall back inside of the previous range. But as long as we hold the range high area, the price of Ethereum is looking bullish and it should continue higher, in which we're looking at a potential impulsive structure. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 has potentially finished, wave 4, and then you get your wave 5, okay? Now currently, as long as this wave 4 is not falling beneath this lower time frame, wave 1, the end of wave 1, then this might be a lower time frame 5-wave structure, in which the bigger wave 3 that we just marked out, all right? So the bigger wave 3, in which wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 might expand a little bit higher, only then we get wave 4 and then wave 5, okay? So my target for Ethereum remains $3,000 until proven otherwise. As long as the range high holds, as long as this impulsive structure towards the upside holds as well, I'm expecting a potential $3,000 for one Ethereum, in which lower time frame wise, we might simply be looking at a potential ABC correction, in which we have wave A, wave B, and now we are currently forming wave C before getting the next impulsive structure towards the upside for Ethereum. Also, if we check out the EMAs, on the 1 hourly, we are currently trying to hold on to the very important 200 estimated moving average and the 200 moving average. 2 hourly time frame still above all EMAs, 4 hourly time frame still above all EMAs. As long as the range high holds, as long as we are trending above all EMAs, I'm expecting higher targets this week for Ethereum. The most interesting altcoin chart out there right now is currently Fantom. And I'm going to explain to you guys what trigger we need in order to get into a high probability long position with a very nice RR towards the upside. There's potential big gains to be made, so definitely make sure to watch this analysis. Because what we can see over here on Fantom is that we have ourselves a very clean range like this, right? We know that for ranges we need 3 different pivots, in which we have pivot number 1, pivot number 2, and we have formed pivot number 3. We can see that the respect of these range levels has been crazy over here. This quarterly level, big resistance, big support, huge resistance. Mid-range level, big resistance, resistance, huge support, big resistance. Quarterly level, resistance, right? Resistance, huge support, huge resistance, okay? So this lower quarterly level is my level of interest, because what we are currently looking at is that Fantom is mitigating this decent probability order block. Now, why is this a decent probability order block? Because if we check the 1 hourly time frame, while this order block was being formed, we swept important liquidity beneath this low. Now, why is this a valid liquidity sweep? It's only a valid liquidity sweep because before that liquidity was being generated, we formed this fake break of structure. This fake break of structure induces people into opening breakout long positions over here with their stop loss over here. Or it induces people into opening longs on the pullback with their stops over here. Now we took out all of those stop losses of those premature long positions, and then we expand to the upside. Now we are currently deviating beneath this pivotal range level. Now, if we manage to reclaim that range level in confluence with a break of structure over here, we have ourselves a high probability long position. Now we need to get that shift in structure on a 4-hourly time frame. So that means that I want to see a candle open and candle close above the high that brought us to that most recent new low, okay? And if we get it, then I'm definitely going to long Fantom on the pullback with our stop beneath this local low, targeting that range high liquidity pool. Now you might wonder, Guru, we have ourselves two equal lows over here. Shouldn't we go for those equal lows? I've been telling you guys, if you are in a bullish uptrend, those equal lows of the range low, those very obvious lows, those very obvious liquidity pools, they very often won't get swept, okay? Because everyone is waiting for the exact same price. Everyone starts shorting against the higher time frame trend to target those range lows and equal lows, and then they often get unswept. They be left unswept, and then we expand higher. That's something that happens very, very often, and it's something that could potentially happen on Fantom right now as well. But keep in mind, if we don't get any trigger, we won't get into a long position. Now, what I quite like about this current chart as well is that if we switch on the EMAs on a 1-hourly time frame, is that these EMAs on a 1-hourly time frame are exactly aligning with that quarterly level over here. So that EMA cluster on the 1-hourly time frame, which is very, very important for altcoins, exactly aligns with this break of structure level and with this quarterly level. So a very, very easy probability long position, a very easy trigger to keep your eyes on. Set your alerts at that lower high and at quarterly level. If we do get a confirmed shift in structure, then you insert your limits, you try to find your entry levels, you try to find your stop loss, which is very clear, which is the local low that we are forming right now. And if we get a trigger, we insert those limit long entries and we target the other range levels with eventually our main take profit at the range high. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys do have any questions after watching today's YouTube video, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like, and don't forget to check out Prime XBT, which is the sponsor of today's YouTube video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday's video. Ciao, ciao.